Next, anxiety in Delaware over the impending demise of Obamacare, and the new Wilmington City Council president wants to shake things up. This is the Delaware Way. Welcome to the Delaware Way. I'm Larry Menti. After the election, Wilmington has fresh faces in charge. Will they make a difference? Well, let's talk to one of them right now. Hanifa Shabazz is City Council President. I should point out, I say fresh faces. You've been in council since 2004.
That's correct.
You're now Council President.
Yes.
What is the difference in those two? First of all, congratulations.
Thank you, thank you.
What's the difference in those two jobs?
Well, as a council member, a district council member, I was responsible for the needs and focus of just a particular district, just the 4th district, which I always said was a microcosm of the entire city. But now as president, there are more responsibilities and roles that it's to preside over the 12 other council members and to help them to bring forth the things that they see that they feel needs to be done for the city of Wilmington.
And that's no easy task.
Not at all.
In the past, that's been a real problem in that sometimes council didn't get along with the administration. The mayor had problems with council, the council had problems with mayor, and they had problems with the different departments. At least in the beginning of this new administration, the new council and the new administration, everybody seems to be getting along. Is that the case?
That is the case. I think everyone is all new, so everybody's feeling their way. And as we, find out what our roles and responsibilities are and exactly what it is that we plan to do with this new level of authority, then we come up with a plan of action, and I think that's what everybody's eager to continue to move Wilmington forward. So that's some camaraderie there.
How about the new mayor? What do you think of him?
Well, I've known Mike before I got into politics. So I knew of him then. I had not a deep relationship with him, but as in my political history, we've interacted because, of course, the riverfront was in my district, and we also did gridiron together and things of that nature. So we were cordial and friends. So it makes it much easier to be able to talk to somebody that you already have a relationship with.
Do you like his vision for the city?
I do, because it's focused on the neighborhoods. And that's what we really needs to be done. We've done.
Was there a concern because of his background that it wouldn't be focused on the neighborhoods?
There was from the community, by listening to his various campaign speeches and what he said he was going to do. I heard that he said his focus was to take his experience and building up the riverfront and use that same experience to build up the neighborhoods.
And how does that work? I mean, the same experience that goes into building up a business and economic development on the riverfront, I don't know how that relates to the neighborhoods unless you're just talking about putting a renewed effort into the neighborhoods.
Well, the benefit that is right now is because most of the needed neighborhoods, low-income neighborhoods, already have community-driven revitalization plans on paper. So we just need an implementer. And he has implemented plans of a development of the riverfront, so he has a knowledge of how to implement plans of development in a neighborhood.
And that's where the synchronicity comes in.
That's correct.
Because he just has to say it's important to him, but then you have people that have been working with the neighborhoods who can take that renewed effort and direct the resources.
That's correct. And get the plans that the neighborhoods have said what the changes they want in the neighborhood off the paper and get it the brick and mortar and the human stock developed to bring forth the fruition of what the neighborhood said they want in their plan.
You're talking about new youth programs for hard-hit areas, which would be important. So crime-ridden areas, you want to bring in some youth programs to redirect activities. However, there's no money for that. So how is that going to happen?
Well, we are spending money on programs that are not effective. And so what my initiative is to reappropriate the dollars that are going to more preventive programs to change this to providing interventive and preventive programs. Excuse me, I said treatment. Most of the focus of programs are treatment. The child has to do the crime or already have the crises before you could get help. We're saying change those dollars, some of those dollars to now do some more intervention and preventive positive youth programming.
Now, when I read an article about this program, they asked you that very question that
Yes.
I asked you, and you said, we'll get the money. The money will be there. You're going to find the funding for this. Have you been able to yet?
Well, one of the things that gives me that confidence is that I've already had the agreement and support of the mayor, the county exec, Matt Myers, and the governor. The governor said he's all in. So we're just working hard. The CDC Community Advisory Council is working diligently in showing him the redirection of the services that the state provides in youth programming, that we just need to redirect them to include a universal positive programming to our young people, and instead of all the dollars going into treatment.
But it seems like every single time this is one of the areas that gets cut. Almost every time there's some budget problem. So you have a federal budget problem right now, and there's going to be enormous cuts in the federal budget. We've already seen that. Well, it's still being debated, but there is expected major cuts. You got a problem with the state. The governor is going to give out his budget. He's talking about cuts. You have the mayor introducing his budget. $57 million in the hole. He's talking about cuts. With all these cuts happening, you are still confident you can get money for this program?
Well, the thing is, Larry, either we're going to pay now or we're going to pay later. Okay, we're talking about economic development. We're having difficulty bringing businesses into our city because of the crime. The crime is based on the issues that our young people are facing. So if we don't address and stop the bleeding and deal with the issues that our young people are dealing with, so that we have not only a safer neighborhood, that we can deal with this illness that they're suffering from, per the CDC, then we won't be able to bring business into the city and grow. So we either need to stop and everyone joins on to address the core issue that's plaguing our city. So then, or if not, we're not going to be able to go, economic development's not going to grow because our businesses are not going to come, our businesses are not going to stay. We can't grow.
No, it's a wonderful point, and we've been making that argument on this show for a long time, that crime in Wilmington isn't just a neighborhood problem or an urban problem, it's a statewide problem.
Well, and
it affects the economy.
It affects the economy, and if Wilmington goes, so does the state. So Wilmington is what we're trying to do is, what we're going to do, I have to speak positively, is we want to do pilot programs to demonstrate the effectiveness of what our recommendations are. And we're working at having that done this summer. So if we could just get a little bit of money, just reappropriate a little bit of the money to, instead of doing programs that we know that are not helping the children, they're not effective, to put that money to programs that have proven best practices. And we can demonstrate this, taking this swing of how we deal with providing positive programming to our young people, how we deal with them in the educational system, how we deal with them in the criminal justice system, just making this swing, we'll see the positiveness that it works. Then we can see that we're on a right track. We can then move it out throughout the state and hopefully heal the trauma. Because the CDC's been in the state twice, right?
No, I know that.
Okay.
And let me. I just thought of something, and that is you have a lot of power in this, because the mayor has just presented his budget, but it's his budget, and the council has to approve that budget.
Correct.
So would you approve a budget that does not include the funding for this?
Well, his budget did say it included it. So we're just.
So you're already on the same page.
We're already on the same page. He mentioned implementing the CDC recommendations in his budget.
Well, congratulations on that.
Thank you very much. And I'm looking forward to hearing from the governor as well when his is released.
When we come back, I want to talk more about the budget and some of the cuts in firefighters and police, the raise in property taxes, and also your new prayer for City Council when the Delaware Way with Hanifa Shabazz, City Council President, continues.